Bill Anderson, you're chasing a story about a former governor and current State Senator Dick Cody, who is using a tragedy that happened across the country as a way of getting legislation through in New Jersey. What do you got?
In the last month, there have been 3 major shootings. There was one outside of a Georgia courthouse and 2 on college campuses, Seattle Pacific University and a 3rd at UC Santa Barbara. They're all far from New Jersey, but legislators here are trying to pass additional legislation to address some of this violence that's taking place across the country. So I chased it to the state capitol, went over to Trenton to speak to Senator Cody about his proposed law that would allow people to get gun restraining orders. Essentially, you could have guns seized from a family member that you thought was emotionally unstable.
They are entitled to a hearing to say, no, I'm not mentally ill, I don't have violent tendencies, and I should be given my guns back.
Currently, you have to show a specific threat to get a restraining order against someone. This law would allow their guns to be temporarily seized for up to 10 days, even if no immediate threat exists. The family just feels like they may be a threat to others.
And then at that time, there is a hearing where a judge seeks testimony from the family member, the loved one, and also speaks to the psychiatric community as well. So there's an evaluation done by a psychiatrist, and he would listen to all that information and either continue the stay or give that person their guns back. Simple as that. Responding
to Governor Cody's stance, Attorney Matt Rooney took an absolutely opposite stance. He said that his firm handles divorces and family disputes, and he said this could lead to a situation where people are caught up for months trying to get back guns that they never should have lost in the first place because they didn't commit any crime.
What I think that Senator Cody isn't saying is it could actually take months and cost you a lot of money and a lot of court time to get back weapons that, so long as you own them legally, it's your constitutional right to have.
You know, it's a shame. It's like they prey on, the politicians, tend to prey on people's emotions, which always run high after you have a tragedy and a murder. But, you know, my question is, if you look at what happened in California, the sheriff's department was involved, many psychoanalysts and psychotherapists and psychologists were involved, and all of them essentially dismissed this. What would make a family member more qualified than a professional? It seems a little bit outrageous.
Well, it's almost like it's a cooling off period, as Governor Cody explains it. Essentially, if a family member thinks you're a risk, then they'll take the guns, take them out of the discussion, let you cool off for 10 days, and then you can go in front of a judge and say, I'm not a risk.
We have to be very cautious against overreacting and creating an even bigger problem, which is thousands of people in New Jersey every year reporting each other for purely punitive or malicious reasons and tying up the court system. That doesn't help anybody, and that doesn't solve the problem.
You know, I always like to look at the practical side that you know, with a round limit or any of these gun legislation, it never keeps the predator, the armed predator, out of the movie theater, out of the school. You know, the issue I have is that why is Governor Cody so quick to dismiss the Second Amendment? And I tend not to talk about it at that level usually, but my goodness, you're now guilty until you prove that you're not a threat? I think this is absolutely the most egregious thing that he's ever proposed, and that's saying something.
Rebuild, rebuild.